Everyone on Reddit. What have you learned about girls after getting into a relationship? Story 1. My first serious girlfriend after college. I learned that I could have a relationship with open and honest communication, owning my emotional reactions, not being manipulative, and putting myself in my partner's shoes. In my next relationship, I learned that only some partners would do that. It prepared me for meeting my now wife because I could expect that and communicate that expectation early on, which laid the foundation for a healthy and a communicative relationship. Story 2. In my first relationship, I always wondered why my girlfriend would rant at me about horrible coworkers, stress dealing with projects, etc., and then get mad at me when I try to talk through the problems, break them down, and help come up with workable solutions. In my second relationship, I realized that when women do this, they want to rant and hug at the end. They don't want your advice. They don't want a calm, rational discussion and what they can do to improve the situation. Don't pour kerosene on that fire. Just let it burn out. Story 3. I always thought that it was a long hair versus short hair thing. However, when I started dating my husband, his hair was short, mine was shoulder length. But now we both have long hair. His dark brown, nearly black, curly, and short length. Mine is dark blonde, pin straight and butt length. It's straightforward to tell the hairs apart. I've never had one of his hairs in my butt crack, ever, but he's had several of mine. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. Story 4. I learned the most after living with a girl. I started to notice dust and tiny things that just went under my radar. After seeing their routine, I started taking better care of my skin and teeth. I appreciated better kitchen appliances, mainly their ability to turn a living space into something warm and welcoming. A woman's touch is something special. Story 5. My husband told me one night that he was feeling some chafing in his ass to work. I went to check it out. Lo and behold, my hair had worked its way up his asshole. Just a bit, but still not a great feeling. I told his work buddy about it, who also had a long-haired girlfriend at the time, who was amused. 2 nights later, a work buddy comes out of the bathroom claiming he too had been stuck with follicular sodomy. Beware the hair, for it seeks a new lair. Story 6. My girlfriend came out of a toxic relationship, not abusive, just harmful. When we first started dating, most things seemed a bit off. Communication, needs, and even our sex life. We were never off, if that makes sense, but our ways of showing love were. 2.5 years. I'm thinking of proposing. My sex life is excellent. Communication is perfect, and we satisfy each other's needs. Of course, there was some struggle acclimating the first year, but I can't ever remember the last time we got into a fight. Story 7. I had 18 at the time, and every time I did something nice, would either apologize or promise some kind of sexual reward. At first, it seemed odd, but after a few times in a row, I just told her I wasn't doing nice things for a reward, but because I cared about her. It made her cry, and we talked it out afterward. But after that, and just other things I talked to my female friends about, my eyes were opened to how invalid women seem to feel. Story 8. I have a girlfriend. She is more accepting and understanding of my actions than I ever imagined possible. When I felt the need to justify, she knew. When I felt unsure, she encouraged me more. She completely captures me, better than a selfie. She's a mirror, more honest than my reflection. Of course, I married her, so the results may vary. Story 9. I learned about period panties. The pair only comes out once a month and looks like someone wiped up acid with them. Women's bodies are unique, fun, and terrifying in different times and situations. Story 10. How nasty men can get. Now it's probably me just being naive, but I never knew how often guys were creeps. For example, my girlfriend often talks about how men make sexual remarks towards her at work and how some grab her bum and stuff, or the number of guys who randomly send dick pics. I can't understand why someone would say/do things that she mentions. Story 11. No joke, my grandpa used to brush my grandma's head every night. She'd just lay her head in his lap and he'd brush away slowly and gently while they watched their nightly TV shows. When he passed, she said that seeing her hair brushed there and knowing he'd never use it again was how much his death hit her. How lonely she'd be and how much she'd never be the same. I've done it a few times for her over the years when I visit, but it isn't the same. She's done after 5 minutes and sits up where before it'd be like a solid hour minimum with my grandpa. I've picked that little expression up and have done it for a few girlfriends over the years, and they fucking loved it. Just lay with a blanket and watch Netflix while I brushed their hair and kind of pet or gently rub their scalp. It helped a ton with the amount of hair that got elsewhere in the house, shower especially. It was meant more like a joke, but it's a useful beauty building thing too. I suggest people try it. It truly makes the relationship feel more connected. Story 12. Relationships are a lot of fucking work, and as I learned the hard way, you can love someone more than life itself and be willing to die for them and think that they're your one true soulmate. They can feel the exact same way, but if these other things aren't in place, then it will not work, and you'll experience the most soul crushing and excruciating heartbreak of your entire existence. Story 13. 4 years, the last time I was on a date was before. I don't want to say it doesn't get better. Some things in my life have gotten better and I've learned my value. But I've also known how to use my time effectively. It's lonely when you realize that even though we are all different, so many people share a ton of traits, most not too good. Story 14. The most valuable thing I've learned is to be honest. If I'm going to the pub and know I'll be back late, be straight up and tell it like it is. Most girls like honesty. It seems obvious, doesn't it? The relationship I'm in has been the best because I don't try to play games that have gotten me into trouble. Honesty and transparency is the key. Story 15. Women are just raised in an environment that allows them to express themselves openly about things like that. 99 out of 100 times, they've already thought of the exact solution you're saying, so it comes off as condescending. Men are told to keep things in, so when we express ourselves like that, it's almost always for an answer, just different levels of comfort for discussing issues that don't always jive together. Story 16. Small things are huge to them. I went on a walk with my girlfriend yesterday and she was venting about how someone was making fun of her acne, so I naturally didn't want to stay silent because that's a douchebag thing to do. So I just said, well, I think you're stunning and nothing can change that. Or something along those lines. She instantly stopped walking and hugged me and didn't let go for like a few minutes. When she pulled away, I saw tears in her eyes. Nobody's ever called me beautiful or stunning before. I didn't know how much these tiny comments meant to girls until now. Story 17. I learned to buy big economy packs of toilet paper, and that period poops smell worse than my farts. Oh, and one more thing, but this was probably this one girl. Period hormones are natural. I vividly remember this happening with my last ex while she was on her period. She went from happy to sad to accusing me of cheating her with 6 different bitches. Ha, as if I barely secured a relationship with her. To cuddly, to don't touch me, to you don't love me anymore. Story 18. When my wife moved in with me, 6 months into our relationship, I learned almost immediately that women, or at the very least my wife, are just like men, but with their priorities slightly differently aligned. Like we all do the same things, just with somewhat different approaches and executions. It blew my freaking mind, but of course, this was also 12 years ago, so what do I know? Story 19. I learned that girls find you primarily attractive for what you do and how you do it rather than how you look. Guys are more visual in that sense. I've been with girls during periods when I thought I looked like shit, but somehow managed to be attractive in their eyes just from how I treated others and made them laugh. Story 20. I've learned over many years and several failed relationships that you must learn patience, even if you're already a patient person. Even disregarding a traditional male and female relationship, relationships take a lot of time, effort, and work. It's not going to be perfect right away, and you're only sometimes going to get what you want out of it 100% of the time. You have to be patient with your partner and listen to them so that you can grow and learn as a person for yourself and your partner. They're called a partner because you're supposed to work together.